Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday English Lab, where we make English simple, practical, and enjoyable. I'm Joe, and I'm really glad you're here with me today, wherever you are in the world. So, let me start with a little story. A few days ago, I went to visit my cousin in the countryside. Yes, me, the person who always says, I need a coffee shop on every corner. Even I was surprised. I stayed there for 3 days. And something interesting happened. At first, it wasn't exactly peaceful. Every morning at 5 a.m., there was this very loud rooster. Not a gentle wake-up call, more like a shocking alarm clock you didn't ask for. But after a while, something changed. I started noticing the fresh air, the open space, the silence, well, apart from the rooster, and at night, the stars. So many stars, way more than you ever see in the city. And it made me think, maybe, just maybe, there's something special about both lifestyles, the busy city and the quiet countryside. So today, that's exactly what we're talking about. City life versus country life. Which one is better? And here's the truth. There's no single right answer. It all depends on you, your personality, your goals, and what you value most in life. Before we dive in, a quick favor. If you enjoy learning English with me, make sure you subscribe to Everyday English Lab like this episode and share it with someone else learning English. It really helps, and it keeps this community growing. All right, let's get into it. What do we mean by city life and country life? City life means living in a large, busy place. Lots of people, tall buildings, traffic, noise, and constant activity. Think about places like New York, London, or Tokyo. On the other hand, country life means living in a rural area. Small towns, villages, farms, and lots of nature. Open spaces, fewer people, and a slower way of life. So basically, urban means city, and rural means countryside. Now let's break it down. Let's start with city life. I currently live in a city. Not the biggest one in the world, but still pretty busy. And I'll be honest, there's a lot to love. First, convenience. Everything is close to you. If you need food at 11 p.m., you can find it. If you want coffee, you probably have 10 options within 5 minutes. And it's not just coffee. You've got restaurants, gyms, hospitals, banks. Everything you need is nearby. Life is simply easier in many ways. Another big advantage is variety. In a city, you can experience different cultures every day. You can eat Italian food today, Chinese tomorrow, and maybe Mexican on the weekend. You meet people from all over the world. Cities are diverse, and that makes life exciting. And let's not forget entertainment. There's always something happening. Concerts, cinemas, museums, festivals. You never really get bored. One weekend you're at a live music show, the next you're visiting an art exhibition. And then there are job opportunities. Cities usually offer more jobs, more industries, and more chances to grow professionally. That's one of the biggest reasons people move to cities in the first place. But cities are not perfect. Let's talk about the downsides. First, crowds. There are people everywhere. During rush hour, public transport is packed. Sometimes it feels like there's no space to breathe. And then there's traffic. Traffic jams can be incredibly frustrating. Imagine spending 40 minutes just to travel 5 kilometers. That's city life sometimes. Next, noise. Cars honking, construction work, sirens, people talking loudly. Cities are rarely quiet, and that can affect your sleep and your peace of mind. Then there's the fast pace of life. Everyone is in a hurry. People walk fast, talk fast, eat fast. It can feel exciting, but also exhausting over time. And of course, cost. Living in a city is expensive. Rent, food, transportation, it all adds up. Sometimes a tiny apartment in the city costs as much as a big house in the countryside. Finally, pollution. The air isn't always clean. Sometimes you can even see smog, a gray mix of smoke and fog. And that's not great for your health. Now let's talk about country life. This is where things get very different. The first thing you notice is space. Wide open areas. Fields, forests, hills. Instead of buildings, you see nature everywhere. And the air, much cleaner. You can actually take a deep breath and feel the difference. Then there's the peace and quiet. No constant traffic noise, no sirens. Just birds, wind, and natural sounds. It's calming. The pace of life is slower, too. People aren't rushing all the time. They take their time. They talk to their neighbors. Life feels simpler. And speaking of neighbors, there's often a stronger sense of community. People know each other. They help each other. It feels more personal. Another advantage is cost. Living in the countryside is usually cheaper. You can get more space for less money. Sometimes people even grow their own food. But again, it's not perfect. One major issue is isolation. You're far from everything. The nearest supermarket might be 20 kilometers away. A hospital might be even farther. So in emergencies, it can be challenging. Then there's limited entertainment. No cinemas, no concerts, no big events. If you want excitement, you often have to travel. Another big challenge is job opportunities. There are fewer options, especially for specialized careers like technology or finance. That's why many young people move to cities. Transportation can also be difficult. Public transport is limited or sometimes non-existent. You usually need a car to get around. And yes, the internet. In some rural areas, it's slow or unreliable. That can be frustrating, especially if you work online or study. So, which one is better? Honestly, it depends on you. Some people love the energy, opportunities, and excitement of city life. Others prefer the peace, simplicity, and connection to nature in the countryside. And many people, like me, want a bit of both. Maybe living in the city for work and escaping to the countryside on weekends, or starting life in the city, then moving somewhere quieter later on. There's no fixed rule. Your needs change over time. Let's practice some useful English phrases. If someone asks, "Where do you live?" you can say, "I live in a big city." "I live in the countryside." "I live in a small town." "I live in a suburb." If they ask, "Do you like where you live?" you can say, "I love it. It's very convenient." "It's okay, but it's too crowded." "Not really. I prefer quieter places." To talk about preferences, I prefer city life because I like being around people. I prefer the countryside because I value peace and nature. To compare, cities are more exciting, but the countryside is more relaxing. The countryside is cheaper, but cities offer more opportunities. And to ask others, would you rather live in a city or the countryside? What's more important to you? Excitement or peace? Let's quickly review. City life offers convenience, variety, entertainment. Job opportunities, but it also has crowds, noise, high costs, pollution. Country life offers space, clean air, peace, lower costs, but also isolation, fewer jobs, limited services, less entertainment. Before we finish, I have a question for you. Where do you live and do you like it? Try to write one or two sentences in English. For example, I live in a big city and I love the energy, but it's too noisy. I live in a small village and I enjoy the peace, but I miss restaurants. Write your answer, practice your English, and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Everyday English Lab, like this episode, and share it with a friend learning English. Thank you for spending this time with me. Keep practicing, keep improving, and keep going. You're getting better every single day. Whether you live in a city or the countryside, I hope you're building a life that makes you happy. And if not, maybe it's time to start thinking about what you really want. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, happy learning.